First Nation and Native American Reservation Sightings, Part 18. The Hare Indians. The Hare Indians share with the Lusho tribe the distinction of being the northernmost redskins in North America, their habitat being directly south of the Alaskan Eskimos. Their territory extends from Fort Norman on the Great Mackenzie River west of Great Bear Lake to the confines of the Eskimos, not far from the Arctic Ocean. The Hares are said to call the creature resembling Bigfoot simply Bushman or Brushman. There are less than 600 Hare souls left in that territory. The Hare regard the Bushmen as males, usually, who have lost their way, and in ancient times, storytellers said the Bushmen used to steal women and children. Some say they ate the men and raised the children. The Bushman dwellings were generally in ice caves or underground. Nobody really knew where they lived. Living together without women throughout the winter months with no fire, but eating fresh meat cached through the warmer months. Caribou and elk skins have been found cached along with other skins of small mammals. The Hare people say the Bushmen communicate with a whistle. Therefore, it is taboo for the Hare to whistle, for it might bring the Bushmen to their villages. Larian is one of the elder Hare Indian terms for Bushmen. According to the Hare, the Bushmen are anthropomorphic beings who roam the bush country during the summer. They kidnap without conscience. By anthropomorphic, Dr. Hiroko Suhara meant the attribution of human characteristics or behavior to their sacred god. Some of the Hare considered the Larian to be men who lost their way, while others believed these men were transformed into evil dwellers of the wilds. Both Indians of the neighboring tribes and the white man are believed to have become Bushmen. Since various Indians stopped their fighting wars, there have been few Indian Bushmen. Hiroko Suhara. Gwich'in Black Giants. A truly wonderful leather-faced Gwich'in Indian family, while fishing the mighty Bonnet Plume River in Canada's Yukon Territory, spoke of a black giant. It is a term frequently used in unpopulated areas. He, always he because seeing female black giants is rare for some unknown reason, was described as better than 8 feet tall, tracks measuring twice a woman's length that led to rocky crevices. There, where the creature lived a solitary life, it rarely showing its face in winter. It was holed up with his cache of stored food. The rest of the year, they might be seen any place from marshy areas to outer city limits, especially fishing communities. Preferred their own kindred, each avoiding the other. What scared the Gwich'in couple the most? Hearing a whistle. Even when friends whistled, they stopped everything. To them, it is the call of a black giant to a female. The Indians also listened to the alarm call of birds and what each alarm call indicated. One bird in their territory is capable of mimicking at least 40 other birds. It's the gray catbird. It also mimics the Bushman, or their black giant, and vice versa. The Chickasaw Lofa. Chickasaw Indian legends mention a creature that was smelly and covered in a long coat. The Lofa was said to be a hairy being that could speak a language. The Chickasaw, while being a relatively small, peaceful tribe, occupied and claimed large hunting areas in parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Kentucky. The Lofa were first mentioned in the journals of Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto in 1540, when his expedition spent the winter with the Chickasaw, severely abusing the Chickasaw hospitality until the Indians had enough and slaughtered the Spaniards. The Lofa is recorded as a living hare giant in the De Soto's journals, defined as something like a giant man. Explorer De Soto writes at length about a giant in what is now Alabama. By all accounts, Tuscaloosa was an enormous man. He was very tall of body, large-limbed, lean, and well-built. Even the terse Biedma says it was the opinion of most that Tuscaloosa was a giant. Tuscaloosa was so huge that when he ordered a saddle horse to ride with De Soto, no horse was big enough to carry him. Instead, he had to settle for one of De Soto's larger pack horses. Tuscaloosa ruled southern Alabama region for only a short time, but archaeological clues suggest most of the central Alabama was dominated by giants until the year 1450. The journals do not tell us if these giants were haired or not, but with the giants in other states, it may be a partial reason why some Sasquatches obtain the height they do, if we buy into the thought that they crossbred. Tuscaloosa, of course, is modern Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Paiute Nation. The Northern Paiute call themselves Numa or Numu. The word Numic, or spelling variations of Nunumic, refers to the ancient Paiute Indian terminology for the hair man who lives on the mountain in and around the Owens Valley in the eastern Sierra range of central California. The Paiute Indian term Numic describes a tall, hair-covered timber giant that was said to have roamed the Owens Valley several hundred years ago. Some say it still lives there in the nearby Sierra Mountain Range. I have the following early examples. 1. Owens Valley, California. Several, including John Clark, Paul Merton Green, and Jack Farrell, reported a large shaggy beast roaming the foothills of Round Valley. Clark came upon the creature asleep and tried to lasso it, but it woke up and ran off yelling. Merton Green fainted when he saw it coming towards him. Jack Farrell hunted it and on March 25th came upon it feeding. He fired 5 rounds into it, but it came for him anyway. His horse broke 2 legs in its mad escape, and Jack Farrell was bruised. Site: Inyo County Register. 2. The setting is in the Owens Valley near Independence, California in the middle 1800s. Large human tracks were seen one morning in some moist earth near the mill at San Carlos, the bare feet being distinctly impressed therein. Measurements showed the foot to be 18 inches long, with the breadth at the toes being 6. The stride being about 6 feet, and apparently made while walking and not running. After an interval of a few days, the tracks were seen again one morning, and after a like interval, the remarkable impressions were made for a 3rd time. At the same time, the footprints were repeatedly seen at Bend City and at what is now the ghost town of Chrysopolis, a settlement on the east bank of the Owens River, around the time of the Civil War in 1860. There was no one, white, black, yellow, or red, known to have a foot anywhere near so big. Indians, when shown the footprints, then asked if they knew who made them, wisely shrugged their shoulders and said, "No see with eyes," and with a wave of the hand toward the Inyo Range said, "He lives there." They acted in a strange and odd manner. I often wondered about the matter, never arriving at any solution, but the incidents afforded a boundless field for speculation. Certainly it is. There was abundant material for legend. 3. An informant from Big Pine, California, wrote to record her grandfather, Bruner Bergman, was a miner in 1933. In his notebook is mention of a wild man that tore the hide from Johnny U's pack mule and killed his dog while he was descending from the Jane mine during a snowstorm on the eastern slopes of Mount Whitney. 4. In 1958, the Princely Press reported Mrs. Otto Martinez became a widow after a trail of large footprints of a strange beast were found around her husband's abandoned pack train south of Mystery Meadow. The contents of packs were undisturbed. 5. A murder was reported 2 years prior at Horseshoe Meadow. The mules were discovered grazing near the old cottonwood sawmill. The 2 deceased men found unarmed. One had his skull crushed, the other gent with neck snapped backwards. The perpetrator left scuff marks and 1 foot marking of extraordinary size. One of the O.V. Paiute hired hands discovered the grisly scene and reported the miners stood no chance against the timber ghost. When I walked out onto the meadow, I noticed the chirping warning of a half-dozen squirrels and knew there was something afoot. The Paiute man would not accompany the investigators back to the scene, but provided a map of the region. Jackson Telgate, 1995. Pahizoho is a much older Paiute term for Bigfoot in the California Sierras. The term describes a red-haired giant much the same as Saitika. The look has been described as human, not like an ape, and not all of them were hairy all over. Some are so sparsely haired that they could pass for oversized human men, and not all of them are giant size, especially in the eastern Sierras. Henry Moon. To be continued, and thank you for listening. There will be many parts to the reading of this book. If you like this reading, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to be sure to catch the future parts. We welcome comments, but please be considerate of others. If you have had an experience with or about Bigfoot, cryptids, UFOs, paranormal, or any other strange happenings and would like to share them on our channel to be read, please email them to sharingofstrangestories@gmail.com. Our goal is to establish a channel that can provide an outlet for people to speak freely of their experiences without ridicule from others. There are many of us out there that have had these experiences and have felt that ridicule, but ridicule will not be welcome here. Emails will be read on our channel, so please keep them family friendly. If you want to remain anonymous and do not want your name read to the public, please put that at the beginning of the email or in the subject line. Thanks again for listening and stay safe.